and welcome back, everybody. Slim Slam and the Bandwagon Fan at it again for your NFL Week 9 review show. I'm Slim, he's Slam, and to my left, that is the Bandwagon Fan. As always, brought to you by the Jersey Cartel. And as you can see, Slam, my friend, I am sporting the first element of Slim Slam and the Bandwagon Fan merch provided by the Jersey Cartel. So I guess we'll put it out there on the socials if anyone wants to get behind that idea. Maybe have a look. But first and foremost, before we get into anything else, boys, how are we?
Mate, I'm doing well, but I'll tell you one thing, it's incredibly hot tonight.
It is really hot.
And the boys might be working up a sweat putting this one together.
Yeah,
so
It's muggy.
This is very, very tough work in here, but someone's got to do it, and obviously we've signed up for that gig, so I don't know. We'll quit our...
doing it for the fans.
We're doing it for the fans,
Pay's
indeed.
terrible.
Genuinely.
Pro bono work, loves it.
We're probably below market. But hey, Stasi, with that said, and speaking of markets, do you want to take us through the good call and bad call, or maybe the rises?
Mate, I would love to.
Yeah,
I would love to. Good call, bad call is one of my favourite segments because it gives me a chance to actually pick the questions.
Yes, well, it's always good. We'll take that.
Yes. First question here, or the first good call, bad call that I have is Patrick Mahomes should be the new MVP favourite. Good call, bad call.
Who wants this?
It's a toss-up, Blaze. I'm sure we'll have very contrasting opinions. Did you want to go or do you want me to go?
I'll get it going.
All right, you get it
I think
going.
he's certainly making a case at the moment. The numbers are stacking up. We're talking 4 to 5 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. We're talking each game.
Yeah.
We're talking massive, massive numbers in terms of air yards, with the exception of that game in the snipe in Denver where he didn't have to. I think you're just starting to look at a guy that is proving that all this hot talk about Russell Wilson, everything he was kind of putting together, he's just stopping and starting a little bit. Now, I'm not writing him off, don't get me wrong. Not any way, shape, form, or how. But I think that resume is starting to build again for a previous winner that probably deserves some more credit than he's getting at the moment.
I think the thing is, Blaze, because of how remarkable Mahomes has been for the first 2 seasons, he's still being remarkable now, and it's almost becoming just like par for the course, and people aren't even...
He's set an unreal expectation upon himself.
They're not even like registering how amazing what he's doing is. He's had 27 touchdowns and 1 interception through 9 games.
Speaks to how
That's
high he set
godly.
how high he set that bar.
On that, so he's had 25 touchdowns on the year, which is second in the NFL.
Correct.
He's had 1 interception, which is the least from starting quarterbacks in the league.
Yep.
And he's thrown for 2,687 yards, which is second in the league. And he's first in the NFL for offensive yards. So he is absolutely flying.
Yes.
He hasn't really had a bad game, and being on the team he is, their record is going to... You would end up thinking almost be that 15-1, 14-2 type, which is going to help him favourably. And then the thing is with Russell Wilson, we said this at the start of the year, at the very, very start, the Seahawks go how Russell goes. So when they lose, it's on him, which is going to hurt his chances.
Correct. And we are starting to see a little bit of stop-starting nature with the Seahawks. I mean, we saw it with the Cardinals, taking them all the way. There's been a lot of games this year where the Seahawks have needed that last drive or overtime to get over the line, and obviously a big loss to the Bills
Happening against the Vikings as well.
Yep, correct. So there's some question marks starting to form there a little bit, and it's definitely watch the space from us.
It definitely matters how many games you win, and I think the Chiefs would probably going to win more games than the Seahawks are.
And all you need to know with that one is the MVP line on Sportsbet slid into our DMs this morning from your good self, Schnazi, and
Please don't ever call me Chuck
yeah,
again.
and we're all over at Quick Smart. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how that one
Well, Mahomes
unfolds.
is at about 325 still on Sportsbet, and that is one I would have them level. Him and Russell, I'd have them level at the moment. So that's maybe a bit of value for any sports fans out there who don't mind a bit of a punt.
Absolutely. Moving on, my friend.
Good call, bad call. The 2020 quarterback draft has already surpassed the 2018 quarterback draft. And for those playing at home, before I hand over to you guys, so the 2018 draft had Mayfield, Darnold, Josh Allen, Rosen, and Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Whereas the 2020 draft, we're predominantly talking about Herbert, we're talking about Tua, and we are also talking about Joe Burrow.
Yeah. So I think I'll take this one quickly and then pass to you, Chucky, for more numbers and whatnot. But I think on face value at the moment, you've got the MVP Lamar Jackson in that class, and you've got Josh Allen, who is having a bit of a breakout year this year now. And obviously certainly Baker is a question mark, and then a couple that have really struggled. So Darnold, obviously situationally, and Josh Rosen bouncing around team to team. And then you look at this year, and I mean, Herbert and Burrow really establishing themselves as, market level kind of quarterback, certainly, if not a bit above at the moment. And Tua has looked really good. 2 wins in his first 2 games, 2 reasonable scalps too, for that matter.
Absolutely.
So I guess at this stage, I'm going to find it very hard to go a good call against a draft class that has an MVP in it. However, I think that case is certainly being built at a rate of knots.
No, I would say that the 2021 is better than the 2018 one, based on the fact that from what I've seen from the 3 quarterbacks from this draft class already, Blaze, I reckon you've got 3 foundation quarterbacks, like franchise quarterbacks that you're going to have for the next 10 years, definitely in each of those teams. I would have thought, barring some sort of horrific injury or something of the like on that nature. Whereas, what do we got? Darnold, who already looks like he might not even be in New York next year. We got Baker, who days are numbered, if you ask me. And then Rosen, who hasn't even really had a start. So, Allen's really looking all right, but then Lamar's already starting to drop off a little bit. So, yeah, I would say that so far the 2020 draft class has been better than the 2018 draft
Obviously,
class.
it's still early doors a little bit.
It's very early doors, but I think the promise we've seen out of these quarterbacks in the short sample size we do have is almost better than what we've seen out of some of those 2018 candidates.
Sure. I think maybe by the end of the year we can make a pretty definitive statement, I would have thought.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Leads into my next good, cool, bad, cool. And I might chuck over to Slammer for this one first.
Of course.
Kyler Murray is a better version of Lamar Jackson. Good, cool, bad, cool.
Well, you could go either way, I reckon, couldn't you? Because like they're probably very similar in the run aspect of the game. But I would say probably Baltimore has like shifted their play style to suit Lamar more than Arizona have, because they've essentially got one of the worst O-lines getting around.
Yep.
And then in terms of pure pocket passer, I think Kyler is definitely ahead of Lamar Jackson for sure. So not a bad call there from you, Schnell.
I think the key stat with that one before I throw over to you, Blaze, is Kyler Murray's the first quarterback through 8 games to have 2,000 passing yards and 500 rush yards.
I think the question that's going to come with, and it is coming with Lamar Jackson, it has been for a little while now, is obviously the playoff success and then this passing ability that he's got. Now, if you're a one-trick pony, and I'm not saying he is necessarily, but he's had this massive breakout year, and we've seen it before where guys do something really different and fresh and fun and all the rest of it, and then NFL defenses, as they do, they figure you out.
Springs to mind.
Correct. So, I'm not saying that Lamar's done or writing him off or anything like that, but I think those questions seem to me this year anyway starting to become a bit louder and a bit more clear that, maybe these holes in his game, I don't know if they should call them holes, but there's certainly an area there that I would probably say that Kyler, is probably in that kind of conversation.
Baltimore's definitely got a better defense as well that it's supporting him on the offense as well. So that probably ties into it as well. That's making Lamar look even better than he is as well.
Absolutely.
Good call from you, Slammer.
Good call.
Last good call, bad call I have. The New York Jets will finish 0-16. So off the back of an absolute game they probably shouldn't have lost today against the Patriots, their last games to round out the season against the Chargers, the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Patriots.
Personally, I would love for them to finish 0-16 because that means I'll just get a hoard of a little bit more Sportsbet's mythical gold, which would be nice. And I was a bit jumpy this afternoon or this morning when it wasn't looking too flashy with old Joe Flacco back at the helm. But I think with that coming home and the Patriots obviously having close one today, but it'll be reverse in Boston, I think I can't really see it happening. Can you, Slammer?
Well, I would have said, Blaze, probably the best 2 chances for the Jets in those remaining games would probably be the Patriots again. And then, because let's be honest, the Patriots have been on a terrible skid for the last 4 games as well. And who knows what sort of position they'll be in later in the year. And then probably the other one's the Chargers, depending on how the Chargers go. So
the other thing to consider here is the draft and whether or not that is a good idea for them to win. Now, I'm not ever saying that the players wouldn't try to win, but there is some franchise kind of constraints on maybe what is best for them moving forward.
Well, they're only contending with one team now, 1 win.
Correct.
So that's Jacksonville. So the Giants got their second win.
Yep.
And who was the other one? The Texans have got 2 wins now. So they're not, the 2 games clear in a sense.
Yes.
So they'll be able to take Fields or Lawrence. But yeah, I do agree with you. If it comes down to the back end of the season against that Patriots.
Yeah, it's like, how much do you really want?
Like, 0-16 or Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, exactly. I know what I'd be taking. But when you're already that bad.
Let's not guarantee that if they get the number 1 pick, that Trevor Lawrence goes there either, because it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that we've seen quarterbacks before be touted as an definitive number 1 pick and just refuse to go and play there.
Well, this is true as well. That's obviously
like Eli Manning did it in San Diego, and then a long time before that, John Elway did it in Baltimore.
It's a storyline to follow as we move into the off season.
If I was Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't be going to the Jets.
As well.
Yeah, he doesn't have to come out.
He doesn't have to at all, and I think.
But even if he does, I wouldn't be surprised if he forced them into trading.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that the Jets trading that away wouldn't be the best thing for them anyway, because they got a lot of glaring needs, and probably the quarterback's probably not the biggest one. Yeah. If he had some help around him, he might be a hell of a lot better.
You put some help around Darnold. We haven't completely written Darnold off yet.
No, I haven't. He's just got terrible supporting cast, not a great offensive line yet, and then the coach is, I think, a problem.
It would be an issue, though, if the Jets go down your route. And I'm not saying it's a bad route at all, because I think you're completely right. If you can get a horde of picks or players for that, that'd be a good way to try and fix that franchise. But if they don't pick Trevor Lawrence and he turns out to be what everyone thinks, then it'd be very Jets. So
if that's what everyone thinks he's going to be, imagine the haul they could get. We're talking about a ridiculous amount of draft picks in return.
Exactly.
One thing as well the Jets do have, but I'm not sure they're a very attractive free agency spot. No. Because they've got the second most projected cap space for next season, so that's almost one to watch as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But they'll be an interesting team. Something's got to give there. Because it's just, this is mediocrity after mediocrity. It's
well, the first thing it's got to give is Gase has got to go.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Is that all you got for me, big boy?
No, that's all I have tonight. That's
Very
all I have.
good. Well worked through in the heat too, my
Worked
friend.
up a sweat.
Yeah. That's all right. Let me take it from here. We'll jump into the Thursday night football match here where the Packers got over the 49ers.
Beat down.
An absolute beat down. The score probably doesn't convey just how bad it was for the majority.
No, it was worse than that, yeah.
34-17, the Packers got it done here. Aaron Rodgers looked good. Davante Adams reinforced the fact that he's making a case as the best receiver in the game.
Did say that last week, Blaze.
And he looked fantastic. I think in a lot of ways here, San Francisco can be forgiven for just not having enough troops left. But at the same time, the Packers were fantastic.
Yeah, you can no doubt make an argument for that there, Blaze. But as I said last week, this was a statement game and a revenge game for Green Bay after being embarrassed by the Niners twice last year. I don't care who they had on the field for this weekend's game. The Packers had to win this one to prove to a few people that they could beat the Niners. And Davante Adams did exactly what I said last week and went out there and pretty much made a statement that he's the best wide receiver going around, like in form currently at the moment. 173 yards, 10 receptions, and a touchdown. That's just monstrous. On 12 targets.
Oh, it was a beastly performance. It really was a statement.
Absolutely.
That's definitely the word that comes to mind there. Shnazi, any takeaways out of this, or just did what they had to do?
No, the Packers showed up. The Niners, as we said, they've just got to keep trying. We know they're riddled with injuries. We know everything that's going on there. I just think they just need to keep getting the young players out there, getting players like Brandon Ayuk more time on the field, start building a bit more chemistry in some of those other skill positions where they're not as strong for next season and go from there. But
like you touched on, they'll get people back. So
they'll get people back.
No,
but
they'll
their
be
season,
much better next year.
Their season's done.
Can you imagine, just hypothetically here, if they get a really nice pick in that 10 to 20 range and add a good value pick. Now, I know we've touched on the quarterback conversation before. I'm not going there again necessarily. I'm talking about more about the fact this team is going to struggle this year and get a decent pick. They're going to look really, really good next year with an additional young talent to add to this already young team that is looking quite nice.
Yeah, you'd think at the moment they'd probably be picking somewhere between 10 and 16, somewhere like that sort of area.
I think that's the issue there is they're still going to probably end up winning about 7 games.
Yeah.
So with the amount of teams down the bottom this year with low level wins,
at the moment? 4 and 5.
Yeah, they're not probably going to get a top 10 pick.
But
with the amount of quarterbacks that people are after, some people could be taking some players earlier, or there could be room to trade for them.
Yep. Absolutely. Watch this space for the Niners moving forward. I don't think this will probably not be their year, but the Packers made a good statement here, and we'll have a look at the Elite 8 in the preview episode coming up shortly.
Slammer, your guarantee, mate.
That's right. Let's jump into that and get that out of the way.
Where is it? Get it on, fellas, because it was an easy one this weekend. No doubts about this one.
Easy done.
Packers, $1.42. Smashed it, 17 points. Steelers, well, that was a bit nervier than I would have liked. And then the Chiefs actually was probably a bit dicier than we would have liked as well.
True.
But all three got the job done there. $1.90, 50 into 95. And just a nice little cash builder there to get you back on track.
I was going to say, you filled your coffers a little bit. You've got a
yeah.
bit of play money now.
I actually
to
had
move
2 wins
forward.
on the weekend as well, Blaze.
Yeah?
I went a different route as well.
If we're tooting our own horn, I also got up on the Packers-Niners game.
I know you did.
A nice little
massive
$650
SGM.
earner. So might get that up on the social.
Great
Reckon,
weekend on the punt.
People get around that, you reckon?
Yeah, Tonyan didn't get over his line on the yard, so I went down.
I almost had a 8-legger return 1,200 from 10, and the only one that didn't get up was Tonyan.
Yeah, I had a 7-legger that was
pretty
about 600
ready to hurt myself on
Tonyan.
It stung, but
hey.
Off
the back of 9 targets the week before, there was nothing there for him this week.
Nice cold, but everyone else was catching him, so it was bizarre. Hey, into the NFC East here, the Giants and the Washington football team played a game here at Washington Stadium, whatever they want to call it these, FedEx
Field, mate.
23-20 was the result here. Danny Stumbles and the boys got over the line.
Stumbles, don't mind it.
Yeah, Stumbles. Going to shout out the Jersey Cartel for that one. I reckon he flew that my way over the weekend. But a field goal of difference here in a game that we kind of got. We got Alex Smith back. Maybe we'll start with that.
Yeah, this was a dreadful game of football, Blaze. There is no two ways about it. There is a fumble play.
There's that one play to sum it up.
Yeah, and it's just pretty much the sum up of the NFC East, really, in general. we're about probably, and this is not exaggerating, I would say 11 different people
I would have said 8.
and dove on it,
Yeah.
and nobody could pick it up.
Yeah.
Just literally
It
like
was just an absolute comedy of errors. It was like something out of the Looney Tunes. Like, it was horrendous.
You'd think at some stage the massive bodies that were near the ball that it would stop moving eventually.
it
But
just kept going.
it's kind of like the
and
NFC
going.
East. Like you'd think it would just stop and die,
The
but
madness just hasn't stopped.
It is remarkably
it
pathetic.
doesn't stop. And I mean, this is a division now with the Giants winning. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I think everyone's pretty much a game out of.
Yeah, it's 2-7. They are, and then the Redskins. Oh, sorry, the football team are
Football
2
team?
and 6, and
Yeah.
then obviously the Eagles are 3 and a draw as well, and then the Cowboys I think 2 wins as well.
So that's just wide open, isn't it? Which is quite fun.
It's couldn't be closer at the top in that one, Blaze, no doubt.
Football drama,
It was
eh?
great for me as well because I picked up a tip on the fellas this week because I was
Yep.
the only one that took the
Yeah,
Giants.
you did.
Yes.
Prejudice or otherwise against the football team, the name, but
Yeah, that's really rubbed me the wrong way, and it still rubs me the wrong way. So it's best to leave that one, I reckon.
all
Did you
right,
know,
let it go.
like Danny, like your mate, Danny
Yeah.
Fumbles,
Yep.
he is 4-0 all time against the football team.
He
and
loves 'em.
1-16 against everybody else.
So
He loves it.
you know what?
How
what I
good is
think
that?
of as soon as you say that?
What?
Baker Mayfield
Yeah.
beats
yeah.
up on the Bengals.
Yeah.
Danny fumbles. Danny stumbles. Even beats up on the football team.
Which is an interesting paradox when you talk about the football team's line as being probably their best asset, the defensive line, and you think someone that's
That and
unnerving.
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Scary Terry looks really good. He's going to be a really good receiver for many years to come. But we probably spent more time than we needed to on them. The Chiefs and Panthers
Did
went
we mention
here.
Alex Smith
Yeah, I
played
kind
in
of
that one? Did we?
touched
Yeah,
on
I
it.
couldn't remember
So,
if we did or not.
yeah.
For the fans at home who didn't see the game, Kyle Allen dislocated his ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so he was replaced by Alex Smith. So
Smith had over 300 yards. Pretty good game actually for him in the end.
He would have been
but
fine.
he did throw a few ugly picks.
that pick at the end as
Yeah,
well.
there was a couple late that kind of tarnished his stat line there, his box score. But that's all right. It happens. It was his first hit out, and I think it was his first touchdown since coming back. Did he get one when he played the other week?
No, I don't reckon he did
Yeah,
it
I
the
think,
week.
yeah. So
The day all three
congratulations to him.
quarterbacks played.
Comeback player of the year back on the board there against Big Ben. We'll get to him. The Chiefs and the Panthers, as I was touching on before, 33-31, as Slammer touched on before, a bit closer than we would have liked.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this afterwards, Blaze, and it's probably not as surprising as what it looks, really. Like, when I woke up Monday morning, not feeling too crash hot, about 3:30 in the morning, but turned it on, did get start to doubt it a little bit because I thought to myself, the Panthers have had about a week and a half off from this one because they had the Thursday night game, so they've had even longer to prepare for it.
Yep.
And then on the flip side of that, McCaffrey's first game back in probably 6 weeks.
Correct.
So the Chiefs have got less film that they can review on defense as to how the Panthers are going to attack that with the way Curtis Samuel and Robbie Anderson have been playing this year. So I think the Panthers actually looked quite good on offense, even though they did end up going down here. But the Chiefs were just too good. Like Mahomes, 372 yards, 4 touchdowns, and Kelsey and Hill both went over 110 yards, with Kelsey going about 159 yards. So pretty good day for both of them.
I think a bit too much class where it counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to say, though, is Slammer last week talked up the Chiefs' defense.
Yeah.
And they come out and serve up that and give up 31 points to the Panthers.
Well,
They might have heard you.
yeah,
They might have bought their own
they got
hype.
a bit flat. But do you know this? Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel have actually got the most combined receiving yards for any duo as a teammate in the NFL.
Okay.
That's a good start.
How's that?
Okay.
How's that for a shock?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cop
Curtis
that.
Samuel's been he's sneaky good. I think he probably Robbie, like we mentioned.
Gets used a bit in the running game as well, like that
Yeah.
on little end arounds and things like that. So
And let's not get mistaken here. Like C-Mac coming back is a massive part of that offense.
Oh,
And
definitely.
He had a massive stat line as
wasn't-
well.
But yeah, that wasn't going to be his best game. His
No, of
first
course
game
not.
back.
No,
Bit
no.
of
no, he's hurt his shoulder again too. He might miss this weekend.
Yeah. So you'd be flat about that. They need
the Panthers fans will also be flat about that.
I think they would be very, very flat. The Panthers franchise, goes without saying, goes as C-Mac goes.
Yeah.
So hold tight for them. But hey, the Chiefs another win on the board. Titans and the Bears.
We'd love to start off and thank the Titans.
Yeah.
We've been saying it all year. I've been saying it all
Yeah,
year.
I've-
The Bears are not a good football team, and that
Yeah.
5 wins that they have is overinflated.
Yep.
And it is just ridiculous to think that anyone thought they were a good football team
Correct. Yeah.
because they are not. Their offense is deplorable and probably one of the worst offenses in the NFL.
Yep.
They're held up by their defense, who's a pretty good defense. Like,
Yeah,
anytime
100%.
you got Khalil Mack leading your defense out there,
Yep. They got some
and
ball players.
Akeem Nicks out there.
Yeah. Yep.
They've got a great defense, and they've also got that young fella from. I've just lost my train of thought. Anyways, we'll come back to him.
Circle back.
But Roquan Smith, who I was thinking about.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
But the Bears' defense unreal. But they have just been their offense. That was trash under Trubisky. They're not much better under Foles. No. They have to do something. They've got to blow that offense up because they've got Allen Robinson, so they've got a good receiver.
Yeah. Is there play calling factors involved here? Is Matt Nagy getting away with something here?
He might be. And this record just might be saving his skin a bit because you can only blame Trubisky so much.
Yeah. There's not much outside of Allen Robinson, though, is there?
There's not. Montgomery's
serviceable
all right.
Miller's all right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure I'd be Cordell Patterson's all right. Like, they've all got kind of flash in the pan type ability.
But still, consistently, their offense
is nothing to write home
nothing
about.
all year.
It's correct. It's pass. I think you summed it up quite well, Schnazi. This was a game that was just dead and buried. And like we mentioned with the earlier game there with the Niners and Packers, this scoreline of, what was it again? 24-17 was much more generous to the Bears on how much, how poor they were.
It wasn't this close. I think the Bears scored fairly late and then had an onside kick. So, it was more of a 2-score game than it was a 1-score game in the end. AJ Brown had a pretty good game, over 100 yards again.
He's flying
so he had 101 yards, and Tannehill only threw for 158. So if it wasn't going through him, it wasn't really happening.
And he had a big, and then Henry, a big chunk play too.
Yeah, and Henry only had 68 yards on the ground. So they didn't get a lot done on the Bears defense. So to still win, pretty easily like that, it's a pretty good way to go out.
Derrick Henry, first time he's had fewer than 30 yards in the first half in the last 3 years.
Wow, that's massive.
Yeah.
That's a low first.
So they've obviously set up to
bit of a feather in the Bears cap.
Yeah, I think probably they've set themselves in the warm up in the lead up to that game to kind of make a statement there. Unfortunately for them, the defense can't play offense by virtue of the fact it's offense, and they've just got nothing going on there. It is really quite poor. It's been poor for too long. It's just it's a comedy really. Yeah. And it would suck to be a Chicago fan for that matter.
I would hate to be a Chicago fan.
It would be terrible.
Not a good time either. The Bulls are pretty trash.
Yeah, not great.
White Sox have never been much
chop. No.
Yeah.
Cubs won the World Series not that long ago, but we're getting kind of irrelevant here. So anyway, back on track.
We're drifting. The Vikings under the guidance and cooking of Darryl.
Daryl cooking.
Dalvin Cook. Who the hell
Head chef Darryl.
Who the hell is Darryl?
He's cooking.
Dalvin Cook is just running absolutely wild at the moment.
Pure wicked.
Yeah, he is a wicked running back. 34-20
He's
here.
a wicked wing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. 34-20 here. They got the job done easily over the boringest football team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. Wow. 34-20, as I mentioned. And I don't know what there is to say here outside of old mate Dalvin Cook. Kirk Cousins got away with another one here, Schnazi.
Oh, once again, Dalvin Cook just... We said it before.
Yep.
It's the same with Cleveland as well. You're not going to win by putting the game in your quarterback's hands.
Correct. So you got to get around... Yeah.
Dalvin Cook blew up for 200 yards. First time he's ever had a 200-yard game. Yep. But Dalvin Cook, what is it? His last 2 games, he's had 478 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That
From
is
scrimmage
huge.
as well.
That's massive.
That's scrimmage.
Yeah, scrimmage. Not
just rushing.
Not just rushing. But that is huge.
It's massive.
You got to check
it. They had more rushes on the weekend than they did passes.
If you haven't seen it, you got to check out the highlight tapes of him. Like the last couple of weeks, some of those runs and catches he's breaking off is
absolutely
ridiculous.
Ballistic.
You shouldn't be able to move like that.
And he was the difference in this game.
100%.
The Lions, once again, if I was a Lions fan, I'd be spewing because although Stafford's, not getting towards the end of his career, you've potentially missed out on Tua and Justin Herbert by taking Jeff Okudah at pick 4.
Yep.
Would not be happy.
That's not a bad point you raised there, Schnars. Not a bad point at all because you could have sat him for a few years, let him learn, and then. But I mean, really, why would one of them want to go there either?
No.
Just completely. They've almost wasted the entirety of Matthew Stafford's career, and he's been there for the best part of 10 to 12 years.
It's joke.
And they have never been
unreal for both of those fellas.
Yeah.
But I was just, if you're a Lions fan out there, just thinking, seeing what Herbert's doing, seeing what.
What are the Lions at the moment? So they're 3-5.
Yeah.
So with the amount of quarterbacks coming out again, the opportunity is probably going to be there at the end of this year as well. Because at the moment they're picking in the top 10 again.
This is
no doubt. So,
but would you want to see one of these exciting young quarterbacks go to Detroit?
No.
It's just we've touched on it multiple times now. It's starting to ring true that this is just.
But when are Detroit going to do something and actually fix that franchise?
Yeah, well, that's it.
It's been beyond a joke for 20 years.
So where does it come down to? It's coaching staff. It's obviously got issues with
ownership.
With him. Ownership is what
That's
I was
why Jacksonville are no good.
Correct.
Jacksonville ownership just don't care. It's a money-making ball.
You need personality. You need charisma. You need something that people want to get behind. That's what sports are. That's why fans jump on these teams that have that kind of sports narrative behind it.
Detroit don't have any identity.
No.
Miami made it like Miami were an absolute basket case a year ago.
Yeah.
And they've turned it all around in the space of a year. They completely went build defense first. They didn't care about the offense. They had an identity. They went out and picked what they wanted, got cap space, got draft picks, brought it all in. Like, that's what Detroit should do now. Just blow it all up and start again. Because at the moment, what you're doing ain't working.
When you talk about building a brand in a marketing sense, it's often about attributing an identity to it that people can relate to. Now, I think you can see that trend throughout the NFL. You know, you've got those defense-heavy teams, you know, those really gritty kind of run the ball down your throat Titans teams. You've got the high-powered offenses. All these teams have identities that people know what they're going to watch and get excited about seeing.
Yeah.
Now that you get the Lions, I don't know, are you expecting to run the ball? You've got Swift, Johnson and Peterson there all doing nothing.
They've been no good since Megatron retired.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
And it's hard to blame him for retiring early.
What would the next 5 years have got him? Nothing. Mediocrity even more.
Or a bad injury.
But that's the hardest part there is you're comparing an attractive free agency spot in Miami.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
to
that's
Detroit.
True. Yeah, there's geographical concerns there. And
But, you know, if you've got the money, players will come play. So
that's the thing. Like, players were turning up to Kansas City a few years ago, like because they had the money and things like that. Like Kansas City, let's be honest, it's not a destination city. Like you're not going to live in the Midwest.
Yeah, it's okay, but like we've got.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, it's not Miami, is it? It's not Miami.
I've got a fair few.
But like even
like
in Detroit, like if you've got the money, people will go.
Yeah.
Like
unless you really like Fords.
Yeah, I suppose you could be a massive
the Motor City, baby. All right, that's enough of that. Jacksonville Jaguars. Hopefully, you haven't offended too many of me people back in Kansas. I was about to say.
I don't think you said. I don't think you said anything specifically. It was just one of us.
Yeah, we operate as a collective. So I think.
Yeah, we've still got our own Gmail.
We don't want to get paid with. You're a prick. The Jaguars and the Texans. The Texans just got the job done here and probably escaped the scathing remarks of all of us here, and certainly their fan base.
You know who's not going to escape a scathing remark from me?
Yeah,
JJ Watt.
Yeah, okay, let him go.
Here we go.
So JJ Watt,
sit back, boys.
It's not going to be that bad. JJ Watt came out, and he was the one that was influential in getting Bill O'Brien the flick. Yeah. So Bill O'Brien's gone as a result of JJ Watt and what he said in the bust-up they had at training. Correct. Now, JJ Watt comes out after the game, a game they've just won, and said he's not interested in sticking around for a rebuild. Mate, you've just got your coach sacked at the start of the season, and you think you're going to be contending? Get a grip, JJ. You've just got your coach sacked, and now you don't even want to stick around for the long term. It's players like you that turn into show ponies who think they are bigger than their teams. And look, go talk to Antonio Brown. No one is bigger than the team, and not you, not Odell Beckham, not Brown, and not even Colin Kaepernick. So you can all go do one. JJ Watt.
I can't believe you chucked Colin Kaepernick.
It wasn't going to be that bad. He's going to have a big sip of that water.
Colin just got to drop up for no reason.
There's sweat on his brow. He's blowing up in here.
I don't know. Yeah, it's hot. I don't know when.
They've just won a game, though, and he's come out and said that.
I don't know the last time JJ Watt had a look in the mirror, but he's not exactly a young man. He's not having a great year.
I've already told him he's not the best Watt brother anymore.
Yeah, so he probably has to have
the wheels are coming off.
They are absolutely coming off. Look, they didn't end up having that fire sale, which we thought they might.
Yeah.
But they've got out and beat Jacksonville by 2 points, who had a quarterback who barely beat out Mike Glennon in the week because Gardner Minshew was out.
Yeah.
So that's a great win if you're a Texans fan. It's me being heavily sarcastic for those who can't see me.
As he wears a Texans shirt as well. A long sleever as well.
He's
in the sweatbox.
Good God. He's a passionate
man. It was a crap game between two AFC South opponents. This game sucked, so let's not spend any more
I'm done. I'm done with that. Congratulations to, what was his name? Luton, I think was his name, the quarterback.
Jake Luton.
Making his start there, and he had a reasonable game, but obviously
304 yards.
So nothing to snooze at.
Out through Deshaun.
Yeah. Well, take that. Put that up on the wall. Mum and Dad would be proud. Colts and
take the clipping out of the paper.
Colts and the Ravens. I was out on a limb here. I thought the Colts might have been able to sneak one here, but no. The Ravens got up 24-10.
It's a game of two halves here.
It really was. There was a couple of interesting moments.
It really was, my friend.
Well, no, it was. Baltimore only had 55 yards in the first half.
Correct. Yeah. That defense was showing
up.
Whereas
Indy had 201. Baltimore were just lucky that Indy didn't put any points on the board.
Yeah,
but to be fair, at halftime they went in down 10-7. So,
but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like they only got 55 yards. They're just lucky that Indy didn't put up any more points.
They had the the strip fumble that they returned. Did you see the highlight when Phil Rivers pretty much fell over his own feet? There was no one within 10 yards of him.
Yeah.
And then the defender just ran over the top.
Must have been watching Daddy Stumbles tape.
Old sweet chili Philly. He just keeps on giving that.
But then Indy didn't put up any points in the second half, so that's pretty pathetic. You're not going to win a lot of games doing that, are you?
Yeah, I think you got
right after we put him in the Elite Eight as well.
Yeah, I know.
It is the kiss of death. It has been the kiss of death before, so
it's happened to some teams again this week.
It has. We'll get to that. Don't worry about that. Stay tuned. Probably tomorrow you'll be seeing that episode. But hey,
shout out as well to the Baltimore Ravens as well.
Yep.
They've scored 20+ points in their last 31 games, which is the NFL record.
Yes, I did say that. That is a good effort.
They are putting up points consistently, which is good.
They'd be chuffed with that. I think we touched on Lamar slightly in the good call, bad call segment. Like, he didn't have a great game here. Low numbers. The rushing isn't electric. I think he had 50 odd rushing yards. And
interesting thing you say there, Blaze. So as I've said before, they're not a come from behind team right now. They were only behind by 3 points at halftime, so it's not a massive comeback.
Yep.
But this is the first time they've come back from trailing at halftime to win a game since 2018.
Wow.
Jeez.
Okay.
So, I mean, granted, they probably haven't been behind at halftime in that many games.
What year did he get there? Was he there in 2018?
That was the first one. He got started
he was
about
in
halfway
2018
through.
draft.
Halfway
Yeah,
through
the start of the show.
2018.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he played the back end of the playoffs.
Yeah.
He came in and then played all of last year. This is his second season as a
second full season.
Third season.
Yep. So he's still
Second full
making his
season.
way. A good result for them. You see them in that that competition with the Steelers. Obviously, it's not really much of a competition at the moment.
They are very consistent and they are a good team. But it's just when they verse that. So anytime they verse a tier 2, what I like to call tier 2 team and lower,
like this.
they just beat them because they're a consistently good football team with a strong defense.
Correct.
But when you play those tier 1 teams, who this year obviously you're looking at the Chiefs, you're looking at
certainly in the AFC, those
Pittsburgh.
two.
you're looking at your Pittsburghs, and you're potentially even
Seattle.
looking at your Seahawks, your Titans.
Well, you got Bills as well now. So.
Yeah, that they just sort of seem to struggle against those sides.
Yep.
So anyone against tier 2 and lower, look, mark it down as a win for them, and that's why they're going to end up with a great record. But when they come down to playing those tier 1 teams in the playoffs,
that's that ongoing question with them that we've touched on before. I think they can't prove
they've
us
done nothing.
They have done nothing. Exactly right. Until you get runs on the board, you'll get no credit, unfortunately, and that's the way it goes. It's tough, but that's it. The Bills here with that marquee matchup were begging for them to kind of come out and win.
Yep.
They did take it out 44-34 here against the Seahawks. The Seahawks take a stumble here, and Buffalo on the back of a big game from Josh Allen, a real statement game from him.
Absolutely, Blaze. They did what they had to do here, and I could, even though I didn't tip them, I couldn't be more rapt for them because let's be honest, they'd been in a bit of a slide for probably the last 3 to 4 weeks. Hadn't been playing great. Mentioned
skids.
last week how they'd actually had more points against than they had for, and yet they were sitting at a 6-2 record.
You gave him a little drive-by break.
I called him out for it because it wasn't good enough.
You were looking for a highlight win.
Marquee win. Yeah, statement game, and that's what I got from him. So I couldn't be more happy for them. DK Metcalf was a problem again, but he is just a problem. But Josh Allen was absolutely slinging it. 415 yards, 3 touchdowns. Absolutely no rushing game from Buffalo whatsoever. No one had more than 18 yards.
Singletary's had a slow year.
He has. I was going to say that. There's a big
down.
With the inclusion of Diggs.
They are going
They're a pass-heavy offense now.
Yeah, they're going way further through the air. And he's doing more... He's doing a fair bit in the receiving game as well.
Yeah.
So he's not just a one down back. Like he's not just a rusher. So that's pretty good. But Diggs had 118 again. John Brown had 99 yards. Cole Beasley didn't do much, even though we did flag that we might want to see a good game from him. But he was only their 4th highest receiver on the weekend. So
Diggs now leads the league in receiving yards.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
So he's having
him and Allen have had great.
Yeah,
him and Allen have had great connection all year, considering the lack
really
of preseason.
Their chemistry is unreal at the moment.
Yeah,
they'll be really happy with that moving forward for the next couple of years.
Oh, massively.
So you got Josh Allen on a rookie deal still?
Yeah,
they paid him yet?
No, he's 2018 draft as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so he's still got a couple. Yeah,
so he's got one more year on his rookie deal.
1 year on the rookie deal.
And then usually you've got an option for the 5th year as well.
Yeah,
because he was in the first.
Yeah.
I think the thing with the Bills here as well, the scoreline probably looks like it was a closer game than it was.
No, it wasn't that close.
They were up for the whole game, and they were up by 3 scores for most of the game.
Yeah, I think at one point it might have even been like 44-20.
Yeah,
so
it was
huge.
Schnazi, that you've touched on before is the Bills' defense, and it's been up and down a little bit, granted, but they really got after Russ and made his life difficult this game.
Well, how many picks did he have, Slam? Was it?
I think they might have had... Well, they definitely had 3
3?
turnovers. So I reckon he had 2 picks, and he had one where he got sacked and fumbled it and lost the ball there as well. So, but they were in his face all day, causing absolute havoc.
The pressure aspect was massive.
They were better. Buffalo were better on both sides of the ball on the weekend.
Yeah.
They'd been down on both sides of the ball probably for the best part of a month, and they were better on both sides Yeah.
And I think this should give them some confidence because this is the first time they've been 7-2 since 1993, which is 27 years.
Yeah,
so they are absolutely flying.
Yep.
But one thing I'd like to point out here, which is probably might have missed a good segue opportunity here, but
It's okay.
they need to keep winning because Miami is winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
Well, what are
can't take their foot off. Like we've
7-2, so they're only, what are they, 2 games in front?
Yeah,
Two
two in front.
games
So we
in front.
declared them as this division's almost over.
Yeah.
But Miami have just turned around and they look like under Tour as well. They're going to be a bit more consistent team who controls the ball.
We
Absolutely.
are-
And the Dolphins have had their bye,
Yeah.
and the Bills haven't. So if the Dolphins, like say
Yeah.
the Bills had the bye this weekend and the Dolphins win, the Dolphins are only 1 game behind.
Yeah.
So they have to keep winning.
I'm really looking forward to getting into that game. We've got a couple more to get through before we
Absolutely.
get there, but we'll probably spend a bit of time on that because there's some real storylines coming out of that one in terms of the entire NFL, in terms of its future at the quarterback position, and a whole host of other things mixed in. But before we get there, we're going to dig through the Falcons and Broncos matchup.
Your
here.
mate
Not
Drew
for too
Lock.
long.
34-27 here. The Falcons got the job done. The Broncos couldn't recreate that magic that they had the week before
Well,
here.
they tried pretty hard.
They
Blaze.
tried to,
They had 21
yeah.
points in the last quarter.
Yeah,
So
Drew Lock is quickly becoming a fourth quarter specialist, but
He is,
it wouldn't kill him to do a bit more before then. I
Would
would
be
have
good at the
thought.
Chargers.
Yeah,
it
great.
would be a good swap indeed. But the
Bit
Falcons
of a
turning
breakout game.
corner.
Bit of a breakout game for Jerry Jeudy. He had 7 receptions for 125 yards
He looked
and a
really
score.
good.
So yeah,
He was looking real good.
He did. He had a lot of.
And maybe he
did
had a bit of
lot stuff.
inspiration from the other side with Julio and Calvin Ridley, both from his old.
Or
No,
from
Calvin
us.
didn't play.
Well, yeah, but they all went to the same college, didn't they? I think they all three of them did.
Oh, that's. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I saw
Couldn't
that.
tell
But
you.
anyway, don't lose your momentum. Keep going.
Well, I was gonna say there. It's,
Oh, in Charles.
it's good. Sorry, with the Falcons here, is it almost creating false hope again, like on the back end of last season, where they had that winning record going into the end of the year, and everyone's going, next year's our year.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
sort of shaping up to be the same way. I mean, Matty Ice, he's fourth in the league in passing yards, and he's going to consistently do the same thing. But I reckon that team's just got broader issues, and it doesn't take one player to fix that. It's a more of a broader buy-in from the playing group
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
the front office.
There's
one of those
problems
ones.
there.
There is
Yeah.
problems, and I think, like you say, quite rightly, Schnars. Last year they were 7-9 in the end on the back of a massive run home.
Started 1-6.
It feels like that again here.
Yeah.
They're going to beat those average teams, and they're going to get flogged by the good ones, and you're going to stay right in the middle, and nothing's going to ever happen.
It's like somebody on NFL Network said, "Oh, don't sleep on the Falcons. Like maybe they'll sneak in for a wild card spot." Well, how the hell are they going to do that? Like they're 3-6. They'd have to at least play the Saints and the Bucks one more time each. So they're not beating them. That's 3-8. So they're going 8-8 at absolute best. That's if they run the table on everybody else. There's no way the Falcons are getting in.
No.
So barring a small miracle,
He's
but there'll be
dreaming.
teams with big enough wins in wild card spots to be in front of that.
He would have just been trying to sell a headline, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just crap.
think
That's
bottom
just
feeder.
shit reporting.
To round that last one out after that from Slammer. And in the last 5 games, the Falcons have won 4 of them against the Broncos.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
there you go.
it's one of those ones that maybe the Broncos bogey team is the Falcons.
Yep.
That'd be
So-
20 years worth of dominance there too.
Yeah.
Look out. The Chargers in a game like
They did it again.
we expected for them to kind of.
He's called it.
He's had a great week on the tips, Schnars. We'll
12
get-
out of 14.
Yeah, we'll get to
Yeah.
that. We'll get to that. But hey, the Chargers again. Excuse me. Think they're going to win. They throw a touchdown in the end, and it gets
It was incomplete.
Gets ruled incomplete because it was fumbled as it came out, and they lose 31-26
Well,
in
Blaze-
in classic Charger fashion.
Imagine
again.
I tell you these stats, Blaze. So I'll tell you at the end of the game, without telling you the score, that Derek Carr had 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks.
Yep.
And that Herbert had 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. How would you possibly think that the Raiders win by 5 points?
Yeah, because it's the Chargers.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind-blowing.
Probably Josh Jacobs is a fair reason.
Even
for
the
that.
rushing yards are bugger all different. So it must, I don't know how the Chargers do it. I really don't.
It'd be terrible, and I know they don't have any fans to be upset about
Yeah.
this kind of result. But with
That's
that said, anyone that watches them from afar would be quite frustrated with the way that they just refuse to win games. They win. They should win.
Yeah, they're a much better team than 2-6.
Yeah,
To be
100%.
fair. They just fall apart at the end and just find remarkable ways to lose.
Well, imagine what type of talent they're going to add in the offseason with their draft picks. Because one player who...
We've been saying this for years.
I know,
They
but
do this every
they've got a
year.
quarterback now, though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And they're going to get old mate Derwin James back as well.
Yeah.
Well, we've said that before.
Yes, we have. But I think one thing to point out here as well with the Chargers, Joey Bosa didn't play. And he's their best
true.
player on defense with Derwin James out. And him and
Yeah.
Ingram, one on each side of the line, going hell for
Have it.
leather to get to
Yeah.
Derek Carr. Just wasn't happening. So you just put all your effort into blocking Ingram and you secure up the pocket.
Yeah, well, Von Miller hasn't played all year either for the Broncos, and they've won more games than the Chargers.
Yeah, no, the Chargers got bigger issues than that. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying Joey Bosa
in this game in particular.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, the main takeaway for me is Herbert has gone up above 300 again.
Yeah.
He's moved into favoracy for the offensive rookie of the year. Offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Offensive rookie of
You're
the
right
year.
there.
Yeah. Almost checked myself. I think I'm making a mistake even when I'm not.
Yeah, it's the sweatbox.
Yeah, it's the sweat
And
box.
because you often talk absolute trash.
So true. How's this though? The Chargers are the absolute whipping boys of the AFC West. They have lost their last 9 games against AFC West opponents.
You're kidding.
No, fact. 9 games. That's like
So
how many games have you played? 6 a year. So it's like a year and a half's worth of.
So they've
divisional
lost
games.
to the Raiders 3 times across that period, the Broncos and the Chiefs.
Yeah, they would have lost to them all 3 times. Yeah.
So you can
So a
run
year and a
off
half's
the
worth
Chiefs,
of
but you
games.
should have losing to the Raiders, and the Raiders haven't been flash hot.
No, and the Broncos.
What are the Raiders' record, by the way? Is it
5-3.
5
The
and
Raiders
3?
are actually not doing too bad.
Yeah, they're going all right. They'd be happy with how it's looking.
They're in
Sean
the
Gruden.
6th wildcard spot at the moment.
Yeah.
They've obviously
Tied with Miami, who are also in.
They're
5-3.
obviously got the deck stacked against them from the get-go in the division they're in.
Absolutely,
But,
yeah.
You know, you can go about it. You get to a wild card.
Well,
Funny
it
things.
helps with Denver and LA playing worse.
Yeah,
well, it helps
correct.
that the Raiders beat the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, exactly right. I mean, you get to the wild card playoffs are funny things. You know, stuff can happen.
Absolutely.
The Cowboys and the Steelers in almost the upset of probably the season if this had gone the other
Absolutely
way.
ways.
The Steelers did get over the line 24-19, but the Cowboys had a shot at the end to win it. It got broken up, unfortunately. Unfortunately, depending on which way you go with that. But it was 19-24. The
Not
Cowboys'
unfortunate.
defense came to party a little bit.
Their defense looked good for once.
Yeah, no, they definitely played way better than they have been all year. It's probably the Cowboys' best all-round performance of the entire season. Now, I know they still didn't win,
Yeah.
but I'd be fairly confident saying that's probably their best
They
performance.
didn't look bad. So I think Garrett Gilbert is his name.
Yep.
He came out of the practice squad, and I think he was the 4th or 5th stringer, and he had a competition midweek, some other no-named. He came out and he actually played well, a lot better than our old mate Danucci.
Yeah, I was flat to not see Danucci again.
Oh, if we saw Danucci again, that would have been like probably a 6-point game or 6-score game.
Yeah.
Danucci was horrible, and the Cowboys were horrible the week before, but they got around Garrett Gilbert, and you sort of saw a bit of buy-in from the players as well.
Yeah, I
he
thought that.
looked like he had a bit more control, a bit more
Definitely.
respect, and I think the defense came along to it. So, if Garrett Gilbert can play up to this level for the remainder of the season, given the division they're in,
Yeah, they're only a game and a half back.
they're a game and
Yeah.
a half behind the Eagles, who they have in the next week or the next 2 weeks.
It's a good question, mate. I don't have it in front of me. So
No, they've got them soon because obviously they've only played them once this season.
Yep.
And they've got probably another game against the Giants and probably another game against
yeah, they'd have another game against the football team.
football team.
Yeah.
Like, they are every chance of still making the
Oh.
playoffs if Garrett Gilbert
Can play like that.
and
the
the
man.
defense comes
Yeah.
correct. There's a lot of ands and a lot of ifs.
But they've done pretty well there on the weekend
But it was
against
promising.
a top flight defense in Pittsburgh as well.
Andy Dalton's not out to pasture just yet either.
No,
He's-
but
he
why
missed on COVID on this
were
one.
they not playing like that for him 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Is what
You've
I
gotta
want to
go
know.
with Garrett.
That's just bizarre.
It is.
How's this though? CD Lamb is now already into 4th place all time for the most receptions by a rookie.
Yeah,
They've
okay.
played 9 weeks.
Yeah. So he's gonna
9
He's
weeks.
gonna probably shatter the ceiling on that one.
Well, yeah, so he's had 44 receptions, 4th most already.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting. I don't know. Obviously, someone might have had an amazing rookie season and had
yeah.
like 100 catches, but
He's trending.
that's a pretty good rookie
He's
season
trending.
already to be 4th most all time and have only been 9 games into your debut season.
Does anyone here think that the Steelers' record at the moment is a bit of empty calories?
Well, I don't think you can say that at the moment, Blaze, based on the fact that they beat the Ravens.
Yep.
But in 2 weeks, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks' time, they get the Ravens again, and this one's at home in Pittsburgh. So you'll probably learn a bit then. But I don't want to get too negative on the Steelers here because I think when you're a much better team than the opposition you're coming up against, you can
Harder to get
sometimes
up for a
just
game.
sort of
It was in
play.
Dallas as well.
You can sort of just play to their level a little bit, like we saw with the Chiefs and the Raiders the other week, and the Chiefs and Carolina on the weekend. So I wouldn't get too up against them, but
I was nervous for Steelers fans.
yeah,
Yeah.
When Big Ben went off injured at the end of the second quarter.
Yeah, that
and
would have been
Mason
worrying.
Rudolph had to come in. He was sort of limping, probably got a nice jab, got some cortisone in there. If he's... Same thing happened last year. If he doesn't play, they are no good.
Yeah.
yeah.
He has to play. And if you're a Steelers fan or you're the Steelers front office out there, go get yourself a good backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've
because at
got-
the moment they've got everything else
They've
working,
got everything.
don't they?
Chase Claypool is absolutely firing. Juju Smith was huge on the weekend.
Yeah, he had a big game.
He was huge, and he sort of come to the party as well with Chase. And their defense is flying.
They need
Like,
to put that insurance policy in place. 100%.
Minka Fitzpatrick was unreal on the weekend.
Yeah,
And
had another pick.
he was huge. But yeah, as you said, that insurance policy just needs to be there because You have no confidence when Mason walks out onto the field.
And you sneakily shot that up on the social straight away, didn't you?
As soon as I saw him come out there, I was like...
straight up, the rocket goes straight up. The Cards and the Dolphins, we made it. This was probably our favourite game of the week, I would have thought.
This was a great game.
We got to see the future of the NFL in terms of these two fantastic young quarterbacks, Tua and Kyler. They went toe-to-toe in college on many occasions. The Heisman race came down to these two before Kyler left for the NFL. It was Tua that came around with the chocolates this time, in a game that was up and down. We saw a big bomb from Kyler to Christian Kirk, as they tend to do recently, which seems is a good highlight every time they do. But I think the main takeaways here, Miami Dolphins just keep on rolling.
Absolutely, Blaze. 4 on the trot for the Dolphins now. And I think I read somewhere that is the first time they've won 4 games in a row since about 2016.
Okay.
This is a massive win. I don't think anybody really would have expected them to beat the Cardinals in Arizona.
No.
So huge result there for them. Much better game here from Tua on the weekend than his first game. But, I not going to bash him too hard on the first game. 20 out of 28 completions there, 248 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. Also, he added 35 on the ground personally himself on 7 carries. So really, he's not only good things to say about Miami here.
He's not the dynamic runner that Kyler is in terms of that zip and rapid pace, but he can handle himself when he's running ahead of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
he had some great moments on the weekend where the offensive line just completely broke down and he had to make stuff up and he scrambled for first downs and things like that. Just made some really mature decisions as well with the football.
Yep.
One thing I took away from this game was just the Cards' defense almost played how we sort of expected to them at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Their defense is struggling a bit, and it started the season well when we were getting behind them, but they gave up a lot of points against Seattle, which everyone is admittedly. But giving up 34 to the Dolphins.
Yep.
Probably shouldn't be doing that, especially with the second game quarterback in.
Yeah.
So that's a concern for me with the Cards. Is we know their offense is good. We know that Kyler's gifted. We know they've got the best wide receiver in the game. Maybe not best this year.
Yeah. Yep. But he's up there.
Their offense is not the issue.
I think they're just a little bit... I think maybe immature at the moment. I think sometimes you get a really, really good Cardinals team, like we saw against Seattle, and then on the weekend you get a little bit down. Maybe they took it a little bit easy or just didn't quite play to their full potential, and they've let themselves down and probably lost a game there that they shouldn't have lost.
Probably a bit premature on rating them that high, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, they did go up on the bye, didn't they? They went up 2 weeks on the bye.
They did, yeah.
That might have been an oversight from us. Dolphins fans, keep on rolling. It must be fun for you guys to finally enjoy some success.
And they haven't lost a game since I got that tour, Guernsey. So
is that right? Out. Look out. The Saints and the Buccaneers. Tom Brady.
I think this game can be summed up. They didn't get a first down, the Bucs, until midway through the second.
They
just had nothing.
They got absolutely obliterated. And now this happens, and I'm not writing off the Bucs because that would be silly. However, these games do come along every now and then where you just get, you get piled. Things aren't working for you. You have an off night.
I think the worst part about all of this is, one, it's a divisional matchup, and now they've lost both games to the Saints, and they've been haven't lost them. They've been smashed.
Yeah. Did you know Brady in his career had never been swept by a divisional opponent? Now, that tells you how absolutely dog shit the AFC East has been for the best part of 20 years. Because he's now been in a new division for 1 season and he's been swept.
How about that stat line with Marshawn Lattimore covering Mike Evans? You seen that?
No. So give it to me.
So every time that that Mike Evans has been targeted while Marshawn Lattimore has covered him this year, something like 6 targets or something along those lines.
Yeah.
0 catches.
Wow.
0.
It stems from they had a bit of a push and shove.
Completely.
Was it 2 years ago?
Correct, yeah.
Where he's like, Marshawn pushed Winston or something, and then Mike Evans just came out of nowhere. Yeah. But touching on Tom Brady's worst losses
biggest losing margin ever.
So that's his biggest losing margin ever, and that's his biggest loss since the game in 2014. Who do you think that side was?
The Bills.
No.
Bugger, I don't know.
It was the Chiefs.
They
lost 14-41. And prior to that, in 2005, was his second biggest loss, and it was 17-41.
Was that the Bills?
Yes, that was.
Okay, that was the one I meant then.
And there's only been one game where he hasn't put up points. And then, that was a game against, I believe it's also the Bills. However, this week, they were no scores for the first 3 quarters.
They were every danger to get shut out. 100%.
Absolutely rubbish.
They were just rubbish.
It was appalling.
209 yards, no touchdowns and 3 picks. That's an awful game for Tom Brady.
There's a slight touch of Drew Brees walking up to Tom after the game and giving him a smile and just.
That's massive though, because really the NFC race now completely goes through New Orleans if it doesn't go through Seattle because essentially that's a 2-game swing there between the Buccaneers and Saints because they're in front of them now. So the Bucs will have to get in front. If they're tied, the Saints are going to win.
Yeah.
So if they're tied at the end of the year, the Saints have got all the tiebreakers in that division. So now the Buccaneers are going to have to finish. I
don't even think it's that. It's just the Bucs come up against the Saints. The Bucs are going to just be have that mental scar that they've come up against them twice this year and they've been absolutely smoked.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest takeaway for mine.
100%. Apologies, sports fans, if you're watching us on YouTube, we have to shut the door because it sounds like a thunderstorm's rolling into there, boys. Bit of lightning.
I can't wait to get outside into it, Blaze, and out of this absolute sweatbox.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool off a little bit.
Last game,
we've got one to go, and we thought it was going to be a we thought it was going to be a snoozer. It was close, but it was still crap. The Jets managed to cough up the unlosable and come down.
Thank God they did, Blaze.
27-30 here. The Pats came away with a walk-off field goal to win it.
Well, it's good to see the first time in the last 4 weeks that the Jets have scored points in the second half.
Yep, gotta love it.
Yep,
gotta love it.
Great,
yep.
Huge. Funny thing here, well, not even funny. Joe Flacco. It's sad. It's sad they lost.
I had money on it, so I'm very happy they lost.
Oh, they were up. They were up big here.
They looked good. Like the first half.
Joe Flacco, what I was going to say, Joe Flacco looked good.
Yeah.
And then just the Joe we've come to,
know and love
in the last 3 seasons.
He ain't smoky, Joe.
Went to water. But it was pretty funny because he was actually playing that well that the broadcast actually brought up his the Super Bowl run and his that Super Bowl run that he had.
They've been waiting years to use those. Yeah,
someone as well. That's the sad part. Someone's just sat there and they pulled out this stat. Sorry, it's been sitting on it every week. It's like, is it Denver last year? And then he's gone, no, we can't use it. No. Is it New York this year? Like, probably never going to be able to use it. And
it's
it
comes out, to use it,
and he's lighting up
20 points in the first half, and they go, run it now.
Well, I'll tell you what, who the hell is Jacoby Myers, and how did he have 12 receptions for 169 yards today?
Yeah.
That's a good day for him.
He's an undrafted free agent in the 2019 draft.
What a breakout star then.
You saw Perryman and Crowder on the other side for the Jets. Just put together a nice little game there, especially the first half.
Crowder had an unreal reception as well. Real bit of toe drag swag there.
I like Crowder. I think Crowder's got a bit of going in.
He'll be happy to hear that, Blas.
Unfortunately,
Fortunately, you play for the Jets.
I was going to say, you hate to hear this. He's stuck in the worst team in the bloody league. But anyway,
so true.
They came away 30-27. That's all that you have to worry about in terms of the games for Week 9, folks.
It is.
With regards to the tips, and every time I have to do this, it is just getting more and more embarrassing. But hey, Schnazi stacked 12 or 14 this week, a total of 97 he is at now. Slammer came in a bit short on 9. He finishes on 92, which is 5 behind Schnazi.
Yeah.
And languishing with an 8 this weekend at just a mere 80, 12 behind Slammer in second, and a full 17 tips, which is...
it's more than a round, Blaze.
Well, more than a round behind the big dog to my left. Yep. So it's curtains for me. If you didn't think that already, I don't know what you've been
thinking it for weeks.
I think that after week 5 when your best bet was done.
Very good.
Whack!
That's 1, 2, 3, 4 clips. It's hot in here, Schnaz. You have to turn me in your punchy bag, mate. Socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Slim Slam and the Bandwagon Fan for all your social media needs there. SSBF Podcast on Twitter. And of course, when it comes to podcasts, anywhere you get them, Slim Slam and the Bandwagon Fan, and likely the video cast here on YouTube. Also, Slim Slam and the Bandwagon Fan. Subscribes, likes, follows, all the rest of it, all the good stuff. You know, you've been hearing it from me for weeks and weeks and weeks. It does help us. It means a lot to us as well. We're going to continue to push out that giveaway. So we've got 1 week to go on that bad boy. So keep sending us in your screenshots even. And we'll keep adding you to the list and starting monitoring your kind of sharing activity because we're really looking forward to giving you away. You can get one of these if you want them. Otherwise, an NFL Guernsey is on the way for you very shortly. So with all that said, Slammer, do you want to kick us off and so we can go cool off
Thank
somewhere?
God, Blaze, because it is hot.
It is hot.
He's been Slim. I've been Slam. That's the Sweaty Bandwagon Fan. Good night.